Hey, what's going on? I'm going to do something different in this video. In fact, I'm actually going to teach you guys how to make some serious money on your own by learning some actual skills. All right. Now, there's a lot of influencers that spoon feed, oh, hey, this project's going to 100x, this project's going to 10x. And, you know, I'll do these videos as well because there are honestly good opportunities that we can get in on, right? So those are good for people to get in and make some money. But as far as learning a skill set, like if you expect to be spoon fed the entire time you're out here trying to do NFTs, you might not make it. All right. So instead of just handing you something to try to make a few bucks, I'm going to give you a skill set. So hopefully you can go out and make a lot more. All right. So how this works is essentially your whole goal is to try to stay liquid while building your assets. It's essentially a momentum build. All right. So what you're wanting to do is you're trying to get in on mints and you're trying to use those mints and leverage and just keep rolling and building that momentum and snowballing even bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, a lot of people are going to have a hard time doing this because you're going to see a little bit of a gain. You're going to see like a 2x and you're going to want to sell. But after I show you how to do all this stuff, hopefully some of you, I don't expect most of you to do this, but those of you who stick with a similar model of what I'm about to show you, I'm going to make it as easy as possible to understand for the majority. Those of you who stick with this will actually get better results, all right, in long term, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into Photoshop. I'm gonna use it, and this is gonna be like a little whiteboard lesson. We're gonna have a little fun with it, all right? Okay, so I'm gonna assume that you aren't like rich and you don't have like a huge bag of Ethereum ready to go, and you're just starting out and you have a little bit of money that you can put in. By the way, I'm gonna say this now. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything that I say is my opinion, and this is just something that I've been doing that has been working extremely well for me, and results are not guaranteed, okay? Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into what I'm talking about. Okay, so essentially, in order to build momentum, what you have to do is you have to be able to get into a project, okay? You got to be able to buy a couple, right? Because there's different phases that you're going to want to hold out for, and I'm going to talk about those, right? But the biggest thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to buy into a project, wait for a 2x, and then sell all of them. Okay, depending on the price. I mean, if you buy in at 2 Ethereum and it 2x's to 4 Ethereum, that 2x makes sense. But off of a mint, when you're like minting at 0.06, 0.07, or 0.1 Ethereum, right? A 2x, if you only get one, it's not going to get you very far very fast. Okay, so this is what I'm going to show you. Okay, so essentially what you want to do is you want to shoot for a set of 3. Okay, so with the set of 3, there's 1, 2, 3. So the first one that you're wanting to do is you're going to get your investment out. Okay, so basically you want to cover costs. Okay, so what that is let's say you buy into a mint. Okay, so the mint allows you to have 3. Okay, and the mint price is 0.05. So now you're at 0.15 plus gas, so maybe 0.2 into the project. Okay, so we'll go ahead and say that. Okay, so you're 0.2 into the project. So if you can, what you want to do is you want to wait for a 3x. Okay, so if you have 3 and you have to sell 1 in order to cover the costs, or at least the majority of costs, you have to wait until the price is about 0.2. Okay, now remember, there's also the royalty fees coming out of the royalties and the transaction fee from OpenSea, right? So you'd want to add a little bit more to this. So let's just say, let's make it easy, it's a 10%. Okay, so they would take 0.02 out of that. So your profit on this would be 0.18. So maybe add a little bit more to it. So maybe 0.23-ish, and that would cover that cost as well. So if we can ideally hold one of these, the 3 mints, okay? If we can hold one until the price hits about a 0.23 floor, we would be able to sell that, and we would be 100% risk-free, okay? We would be, the money that we put into it would be out, and then we could hold the other 2 for profit. Okay, so with the other 2, what you're wanting to do is obviously you're trying to make money. Okay, now if you're just starting out and you're only able to mint 1 set of 3, and that's even if the project would allow you to do it, what you're gonna want to do is sell the second one for profit. Okay, now here's my suggestion. If the floor 3x's and is enough for you to sell 1 and get all of your money back, and you don't have any investment or risk in that project at that point, you still have 2. At that point, you could sell a second one, which would give you essentially your 0.2, okay? Because remember, you were trying to get the 0.2 back out. So now at this point, you would sell your 0.2, so you have that back in your wallet, and then you would sell a second one, okay, for profit. With that profit, what you would be doing is now you would have a 0.4 in your wallet, okay? So 0.4 Ethereum, because you sold 1 to get your 0.2 back, and then you sold 2 to get your profit. So now you 2x'd off of that. And then this one, is your long-term profit. If I could write long-term profit, or another term for it is called your moon bag. All right, now when you're starting out really small, you're not going to be able to have a huge moon bag. All right, however, depending on if the project actually starts taking off, and if it's at 0.2 and you're not only risk-free, but you also doubled your money off of it, just hold that third one for a long term and just see, you know, maybe it might hit 0.75 or it might get close to 1, or it could go absolutely parabolic and you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 Ethereum off of it. Whatever the case may be, you want to hold that one until you go, hey, you know what? I either A, need that profit at that point and it's a good profit margin. I need that so that I can roll into another project that I'm very confident in, or I'm going to leave it until it's at a level that's where I would sell it, take the profits and put half of it back into another roll. So just really quick on the math, let's just go over this really quick. Now, whether this was a mint or you're buying off of the floor, okay, let's just do the math again. So 0.05, 0.05, 0.05. So total, you're in 0.15 plus gas. So let's add another 0.05 just to make it 0.2. So total invested, you would be at about a 0.2, okay? And remember, what you're wanting to do is sell that first one for about a 0.23, right? Because of expenses. And of course, just go in and actually look at the royalty fees and the transaction fees. You can do that by going to OpenSea, clicking on an NFT and hit buy from that project, and it'll actually show you. I'll show you right here on the screen. It'll pop up and show you what the actual percentages are of the royalty and the transaction fee, so you can count that math into your final sale price. Then once you know that, just go ahead and sell 1, cover your costs. Now you're risk-free. 2, let's say you sell that for 0.23 as well at the same time. Okay, so you just go to the floor and you go, hey, you know what? The floor is moving. It's a good price. I'm going to go ahead and exit now. Okay, so that's 0.23 plus 0.23. So at that point, it would be 0.4 minus the transaction fees. So then you could take that profit or this right here, which would be the full amount in your wallet, and you can take that and roll it into another project. And remember, total costs, you only started with 0.2. Okay, so now you have 0.4-ish, okay, because of the transaction fees. Your profit at 0.2. You can take the profit and roll it into another project. But at this point, what I would do is I wouldn't necessarily take a whole lot of profit, okay? I would leave most of this in my momentum ball, okay? So it's like a snowball. You want to get that momentum rolling. At this point, some people go, oh, hey, I just made, you know, let's say 0.4 is like maybe $1,200, $1,500. So at this point, some people would be tempted to take out half of that and cash out and go buy something nice. I say leave it and keep doing your research, keep finding projects, keep getting in on mints, keep buying floors off of startups, keep trying to roll this momentum into something else. Also, I just realized that I'm going outside of my space, so this right here is 0.02. All right, so once you're able to maybe start buying more and more and more from a different project, say you find a project that you really believe in and the floor is really close to mint price, and you're like, you know what, I could start buying more. How do you know how much that you could buy mathematically instead of just aping in and just buying a bunch of them and hoping it works out? I'm going to give you a system to follow, okay? So we're going to go back to that set of 3, okay? So the set of 3, same principle works with the 1, 2, and 3, right? The remove your initial investment, the short-term profits, and then your moon bag, right? But let's say you come across a project that you're able to get into and you could buy a good chunk more, okay? Let's say twice as much. Now you can start looking at, instead of profiting 0.2, you would be able to profit 0.4. So in order to do that, you want to follow a set of 3, okay? So remember sets of 3s. So to keep math simple, set of 3, we'll go ahead and do 1 and 2 over here, okay? 3 and 4 will be over here, and then 5 and 6 would be over here, okay? Same thing we did, right? Remove risk, right? Or your initial investment, initial money, okay? So the 1 and 2, remember when it gets to a 3x, because if you're in a set of 3, it's a set of 3 is you're looking for a specific growth pattern. Now, if you were only buying sets of 2, so some people do this, but they say, hey, as soon as it 2x's, I'm going to sell half, cover the entire thing, remove all of my initial investment, keep myself liquid, and I'm going to move on with the other half, okay? Now this, the 3x, this is a lot easier to do off of projects that have a really strong potential and a low price. This is not going to work for most of you if you're looking at the super hype projects that are the mass produced, you know, like we just saw with like the anime projects or the 3D projects and all these different projects that are a really high mint price, and then they just kind of like fumble around for a long time until they reveal, and then they kind of die off because there's nothing unique about them, right? So always do your research, always pay attention where the excitement and the hype is at, but also think about, is this just a variant of an already successful project that somebody is just building because they're wanting to build off the success of the other project, right? So just keep that in mind and always be paying attention to the origin of a project and if it's authentic and if they actually have their own angle in their own market that they want to chase after versus just replicating one that had a good success. Yeah, I really want you guys to avoid just chasing the hype, because if you just chase the hype, people are going to make money off of you and you're going to end up holding a bag. Okay, don't do that. Always try to find projects that have a solid team, that are engaging with the community, they're asking questions, they're hanging out regularly in the Discord. Doxed or not, me personally, a doxed team doesn't make or break a project for me, because you got to remember, this is a decentralized space. If there's an artist that's like, hey, I just want to put my art out, I want to have a small cheap mint, and I just want to put some stuff out and hang out and be somebody that's not like tied to who I am in real life, like I'm okay with that. Okay, as long as they are showing up in the Discord and they're actually hanging out and they're putting in an effort and they're fulfilling on their promises. I don't care if it's a gamer tag or if it's a guy that's got his LinkedIn attached to his Discord profile to completely dox himself. I personally don't care, but at the same time, do your research. Okay, are they purposely not showing who they are and not fulfilling on promises, not doing AMAs before mint? Like, if they're being sketchy, watch for red flags. Other than that, just make sure you're paying attention and taking care of yourself. Here in a second, I'm going to show you a project that you could potentially do this with. In fact, I'm going to be doing it as well with the same project. So what you can do is you could jump in. You want to sell those first two. Okay, again, same math. Let's say it was well, actually at this point, let's say it's the floor price is 0.05 and you're like, all right, you know what, I'm going to buy 6 of them. So you end up buying 6 times 0.05, you're going to end up paying 0.3. Now remember, from our last trades, if you played it out the short term, you got your liquidity back and then you made profit. You had 0.4. You can jump in, you could pay 0.3 plus gas. So let's say 3.5 to 0.4 ish, right? So you're putting the same thing in, but now we're going to be betting on another double. Okay, so in order for you to get your initial investment out, the floor would need to be 0.15 on the project. Okay, because remember, you're going to be selling 2 to cover your initial investment. So if your initial investment, ignoring fees, right, is 0.3, the floor would need to be 0.5. If you add fees, I would probably say 0.17, 0.18 would cover the actual fees. Okay, so then this 1 and 2 would be the 0.15 plus 0.15 each, right, would be your 0.3. Boom. So there's your 0.3 back. And then if the floor's moving and if things are going good and you're like, hey, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take my profits now short term, you could go ahead and sell one of these. Okay, or you could sell both and double your initial investment. All right, so this is a timing thing, and I really want people to pay attention to this. If the floor 3x's, okay, this isn't a 100x type scenario. These guys right here are where you want to hold for a 10x, a 20x, a 50x, a 100x. All right, do not hold every single piece hoping that will happen. Okay, if the profits are good, take your profits. All right, don't sit there and hope that it will go up, because who knows, a week later it could totally tank out and it would ride for an absolute, maybe a month or 2 months before it comes back up, if ever. Okay, even Gary Vaynerchuk says, hey, look, 98% of these are going to zero. Okay, so take profits when you can. All right, this is me putting this into a system for you so you can actually follow along and play it smart. Make sure that you're staying in profits, you're staying liquid, and you're able to keep moving into solid projects. All right, so then you take 3 and 4. So let's go ahead and say, hey, you know what, the profits are good, we're going to go ahead and sell 3 and 4. So that's going to be another 0.3. So now we have 0.6. Okay, obviously you want to count in the fees. Okay, so but you want to have 0.6 when you come out. And then you got your moon bag right here. So these ones, 5 and 6, okay, you're going to hold 2 for potentially long-term profits. All right, so instead of it being just a 3x, now remember, a 3x is fairly normal. That can happen literally the first day of mint. A project could mint out and it could spike up 3x. Okay, we see it quite a bit. Say the mint is 0.06, right? A lot of the times you'll see a floor maybe hit 0.15 to 0.2 ish fairly quickly if it's a solid project and there's good demand. Okay, you want to try to get in on mints, But if you're not able to get on in mints, you want to look for projects that have good potential, but not a lot of hype. Okay. So for example, I'm going to show you this, but absolutely do your own research and pay attention to your own flags that you might see. All right. There is a project called Ape MFers, which I'm actually going to show you here really quick. Okay, so Ape MFers, they're like a meme character. Okay, so like a meme. They're based off of the stick figure meme guy at the computer and Bored Ape Yacht Club. All right, they came out as a joke, but they were like, hey, you know what? Let's do something. Let's have an interesting like a little arcade. They're gonna build a game that's kind of like Among Us. So if you know that game, but it's playing with your Ape MFer character. All right. Now the mint was really cheap. Okay, I think it was like 0.03 mint. I personally came in on the mint because I saw it on Icy Tools. I thought it was funny, so I just minted a handful. And then I went and looked at the floor, and the floor they were just throwing them out for the same price as mint. So I just bought up a couple more. All right. Now I just held on to those, and they didn't do anything for a while. Okay, they just kind of hung out at 0.3, didn't really do a whole lot, and then about 2 weeks, within 2 weeks or so, they jumped up to, it was about 0.1 ish. So they jumped up and they were 0.3. So they had 3x'd, right? Remember, because I got in at 0.3, they hit about 0.11 or 0.12. Okay. So at that point, I went and sold enough that I got all of my initial investment out, and I was like, boom, now I can sit and ride. Okay. So I just left it, and they just sat and rode for a little bit. And there was a few times where I'd sell one or two here and there just to get like a 0.1 or a 0.2 out. And then all of a sudden it just exploded. So what I did is when it hit up at a 0.25, now remember a 0.25 from a 0.03 buy-in, that's a pretty good profit margin. Okay, so if we do a 0.25 and we divide that by a 0.03, okay, that's over an 8x. So at that point I was like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna sell a couple more, take some more profit. And bear in mind, I bought these for 0.03. I sold two of them, okay, at 0.25. That's half an Ethereum, okay, which at the time was about $1,500. Okay, so the profitability by buying super cheap on a potentially good project that's doing its own totally unique thing with a good team who keeps showing up, keeps putting out the value, okay, by showing their dedication to the long-term success of their project, even if the floor is completely crashed out, if they keep showing up every day and they keep putting in their work to make it happen, I guarantee you, if you stick with them, you're going to make profits. But it is not the exciting, super hot, quick profits, the 100x that these influencers want you to think that they can get you. Okay, it is the actual calculated and long-term put in success. Okay, so with this example of the Ape MFers, Kong Club was struggling early on. Okay, they were going to do a 0.03 mint, and it was only going to be 1 mint per wallet, which it ended up still being. Okay, but they weren't minting out, people weren't doing anything, and people thought they were just going to be another 3D project that was just kind of like scammed out, right? So an interesting thing happened where the project owner actually said, hey, you know what, we're going to set it at a free mint. Everybody can mint one to your wallet, and you can just grab them as you want, and then we're going to keep working on the project. So at that point, it became not so much about the team making a lot of money off of the audience, but it was them saying, hey, you know what, we want to do this, we're not getting our project minted out, so instead we're gonna give it out for free and show you what we're building. Okay, now at that point, that's where I was like, you know what, that just earned a lot more respect from me. So what I did is I actually showed up and I bought 10 of these. Okay, so if I go to my profile, I'll go ahead and show you guys this. This is my profile. Prosperity Geek is my Discord name, and it's my gamer tag. So if you guys see me in Discord, say hi. But you can see right here, I was just like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and buy 10 of them. I'll just pick a random one. So you can see right here, I just saw it on the floor. It was 0.04. I bought it, and then the floor kept going down a little bit as people were just getting these free mints and throwing them on the floor. Now the floor is 0.02. So I just kept buying some more and more and more. So because the team showed that they're putting in work, because they showed that they want to keep showing up and they want to keep putting in work for their roadmap, they want to fulfill on their promises. The promises of this are a 3D metaverse avatar, a tokenomics generation from the Kongs, gamification of the 3D avatars that they're building, an on-chain game, and a bunch of other stuff that they want to do. And I was like, hey, I like play to earn. It's not a huge investment for me to buy a handful of these, so I'm going to jump in and do it. But my total cost was about a 0.4.5, maybe 0.5 Ethereum to buy 10 of these things. And now all I have to do, if the floor hits essentially 0.08 or or less, okay, 0.07, I could do my set of 3, remember, like the 3s. So what I could do is I could go ahead and sell 2 or 3 of them, get the majority of my initial investment out, okay, because I minted 1 for free, but I bought 9, so I have 10, okay, so I'm only looking at the 9. So I could sell 3 of them. If I paid an average of 0.03, including gas or whatever for these, for 9 of them, I paid about 0.27, 0.3-ish or so total for my 9 Kongs that I bought off the secondary. So if I divide that by 3, essentially I would need the floor to be about a 0.09. So what I would do is wait for the floor to be about 0.11 or 0.12, and then I would sell 3 of those, and now I have my initial investment back. Okay, so if I get the floor at 0.12 times 3 would be 0.36 minus the 0.27. That leaves me for about 0.1 for transaction fees and whatnot, which is about right. So now I'm holding 6 of them for more profits. So if I wanted, I could sell another 3, and again I doubled, and I have 3 more in my moon bag, which, hey, if this hits half an Ethereum or it hits 1 Ethereum, that's some major profits. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm not focusing on making massive gains super quick, like, or whatever, or like holding for a long term. What I'm doing is I'm playing smart, and I'm just trying to make moves that make sense, staying liquid, keeping my risks down while holding some for a potential explosion or a parabolic takeoff for the project. I'm going to give you guys a secret. If you're still watching at this point, I am going to be opening up a Discord where not only am I going to teach you guys more advanced stuff, I'll have private videos specifically for my community, but I'm also going to be giving you guys my alpha. I'm going to be talking about projects. I'm going to be talking about my plays. I'm going to be talking about things that I'm doing maybe behind the scenes that I don't normally talk about or won't talk about on YouTube, just because 1, it takes a lot of time, but 2, if I threw it out there, who knows what would happen with that information, right? If you want to be a part of that, there's going to be a link below. I'm going to have an invitation coming on for my new Discord here soon that I'll release, and you guys, my subscribers, are welcome to come in. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and I'm definitely going to make that happen where you guys can jump in, and I want to do my best to teach you guys how to actually succeed with this and not just be an influencer that shoves hyped information and projects down your throat. So hopefully you like this video, and I look forward to doing another one for you guys. I'll see you in the next video.